A cold fist clenches your heart. You're already defeated, and the echo of the fall hasn't even reached your ears. Your life isn't some gentleman's chess match, all leisurely contemplation over crystal goblets and veiled threats. No, yours is a brutal, silent war fought in the shadows, with pieces you fumble to control and choices dictated by blind panic, not strategy. A terrifying ballet of the unknown. The cruelest twist? You're adrift, unsure if you're a lowly pawn, a dazzling queen, a detached observer, or the regal king. You're so consumed with projecting an image of strength, intellect, or irresistible charm that you've tragically neglected the most vital truth. Survival is paramount. Your purpose? Intentional existence. Your sacred mission? To fiercely guard what truly matters. Yet, you blunder onward, chasing victory in a directionless haze, absent of purpose, absent of you. Listen. Listen closely to the silence that screams. A king doesn't need to charge across the board to wield power. His strength lies in knowing precisely who he is, something you desperately lack. Each dawn, you rise with the burning need to prove yourself. To someone, to everyone. You desperately try to orchestrate the chaos of the board, yet you can't even tame the tempest raging in your mind. I'll say it again. You are the king. Not through brute force, not through lightning speed, but because without you, the entire game crumbles to dust. And still, you foolishly entrust your worth to pieces that flicker like candles. Here today, gone tomorrow. Do you honestly believe that true success lies in absolute control? In conquering every front, in possessing every answer? That's not strategy. That's agonizing, deafening noise. True strategy blossoms in the fertile ground of silence, knowing when to stand firm, when not to advance, realizing that the glittering allure of the board often masks emptiness. You've clung to the illusion that displaying unwavering strength equates to invincibility. But tell me, how formidable can you be if you fail to protect your inner sanctuary? How far can you ascend if you haven't identified your deepest desires? The core issue isn't a lack of triumph, but a debilitating lack of direction. Because if you remain ignorant of what you are sworn to protect, any fleeting distraction will shatter your focus, will become your master. Do you grasp what separates a seasoned player from a novice? He doesn't fixate on his opponent first. He embarks on a journey of profound self-discovery, understanding his regal essence, acknowledging his limitations, assessing his position, and comprehending the stakes. For if you remain ignorant of your true self, you won't even recognize the chilling sting of defeat when it arrives. And here it is, the question you should have confronted ages ago. What are you truly defending? Don't insult me with talk of job titles, polished images, or fragile reputations. Those are ephemeral whispers, wisps of smoke. What matters lies hidden from view. Your mental fortitude, your emotional equilibrium, your unwavering moral compass, your driving purpose. That is your unshakable foundation, what cannot be allowed to crumble. Because when that shatters, all external achievements become meaningless trinkets. But you bury it, conceal it, mask it with hollow goals and the validation of strangers, as if applause equates to success, as if admiration equates to inner peace. The truth, raw and unflinching, is that the world can shower you with praise, while your internal landscape crumbles into oblivion. What value is a formidable queen when the king teeters on the precipice of ruin? You've approached this game as if you were indestructible, immune to pain, a relentless rook hurtling along predetermined paths, unburdened by doubt. But you are not. You're the king, and the king moves with measured steps. The king observes with piercing insight. The king protects himself with unwavering resolve. The king's victory isn't forged in aggressive assaults, but in steadfast resilience. He triumphs by discerning when to advance and when to remain still, because a king who charges blindly toward danger seals his own doom. Do you finally understand? Every instance of self-betrayal, every compromise of your values to gain acceptance is akin to moving your king into an unseen check. Every time you prioritize the opinions of others over your own intuitive whispers, you leave your very soul exposed and vulnerable. Every time you choose the mask of pretense over the authenticity of feeling, you forfeit an essential piece of yourself. And still, you feign confusion as to why peace eludes you. The answer is chillingly simple. You haven't fortified your inner castle. You've erected towering walls on the exterior, while the interior crumbles into ruin. You've become obsessed with external strategies, neglecting the blindingly obvious truth. The ultimate game unfolds within. You don't require mastery over manipulating others. You must understand what you are prepared to sacrifice and what you must fiercely defend. And here lies the genesis of self-knowledge. Because only those who truly know themselves can craft a strategy that won't lead to their own destruction. Only those who have plumbed the depths of their being can safeguard what's essential without mistaking it for the superficial. Because those who remain ignorant of their inherent worth invariably relinquish everything for nothing. And the most excruciating aspect? Many times they do so with a smile plastered across their face. How much longer will you forsake your principles in the desperate pursuit of belonging? How much longer will you disguise crippling anxiety as boundless ambition? How much longer will you celebrate as success that constant grating noise that steals your sleep? This isn't a quest for outward victory. It's a struggle to cling to the core of your being. It's about nurturing that sacred flame even as the world around you disintegrates. Because if the king falls, the game concludes. There's a brutal truth that society shies away from. Your most formidable enemy isn't the opponent you face across the board. It's the insidious saboteur you've allowed to infiltrate your mind. Your unfiltered thoughts, your misunderstood emotions, your unhealed wounds, that relentless internal cacophony that undermines every step forward. That internal saboteur doesn't roar. It whispers, subtle and insidious. It feeds you lies. You're not ready. You're destined to fail. You're better off staying in the shadows. And you, tragically, listen because its voice is familiar, comforting. Because you've repeated these self-defeating mantras for so long, you've mistaken them for your own authentic voice. But it's not you. You are merely the listener. And if you possess the power to hear it, you possess the power to rewrite the narrative. Authentic leadership doesn't commence with commanding others. It begins with mastering your own mind. It's about silencing the insidious voices of fear, choosing clarity amidst the swirling chaos, because chaos is not a fleeting anomaly. It's an eternal force. What transforms is your capacity to navigate it, a capacity forged in the crucible of inner work. The world showers accolades upon those who conquer, but reserves its deepest admiration for those who survive without sacrificing their souls. Success devoid of inner peace is a hollow echo, an empty ovation, a crown far heavier than its worth. The ultimate question is this: do you crave mere victory, or do you yearn to endure without betraying your very essence? Because only one path will unlock true freedom. And no, this isn't about achieving invulnerability. It's about fearlessly confronting your vulnerabilities and safeguarding them with unwavering wisdom. It's about acknowledging that you are not immune to pain, but you can cultivate strength amidst its fiercest storms. It's about forging a shield, not from arrogance or pride, but from unshakable principles, profound purpose, and crystalline clarity. Because when you know with absolute certainty what you are defending, you won't be swayed by the siren song of compromise at the first sign of adversity. And here lies the delicious irony. The deeper your self-knowledge, the less you feel compelled to prove yourself to the world. The clearer your internal center, the less the external chaos can penetrate. The more diligently you protect your king, the less significance you place on the fleeting battles on the periphery. True power isn't displayed, it's felt. It's the tranquil confidence of those who have no need to shout. It's the profound silence that unsettles those who thrive on noise. It's the unwavering gaze that silently declares, "I know who I am, and I will not be swayed by fleeting whims." So tell me, when did you last carve out a space in the maelstrom of your life to sit with yourself and ask, what is it that I am fiercely compelled to protect? Because until you answer with unwavering honesty, you will continue to move by reflexive impulse, not by strategic intention. And those who move by impulse invariably lose. The ultimate game isn't won by the one who advances the furthest, but by the one who knows what they will never relinquish. And you? Do you already know what you will never surrender? Because if you don't, any alluring promise will seem tempting, any passing voice will seem wise, and any fleeting defeat will appear final. But they aren't. Failure doesn't define you. What defines you is what you choose to protect, even when everything else seems to be at stake. Safeguard your mental sanctuary, your emotional stability, your unwavering integrity, your driving purpose. This isn't selfishness, it's strategy, leadership, maturity. The king who endures isn't the swiftest, nor the most conspicuous. He's the most conscious. He's the one who refuses to sacrifice the essential for the urgent, who refuses to trade his inner peace for fleeting applause, who refuses to chase after external validation because he knows his inherent worth transcends the need to be seen. And here's the final searing truth. If you fail to protect your king, no one will do it for you. You are the epicenter. And if you collapse, it matters not how many pieces remain standing on the board. The game simply concludes. So, begin today, not with grand pronouncements or radical transformations, but with a single, deliberate step. Acknowledge yourself. Confront your reflection with unflinching honesty and ask, what am I neglecting that I should be protecting with every fiber of my being? Because when you vow to abandon the path of inertia, you embrace the path of intention. And at that pivotal moment, even if you take only a single, measured step, you will have achieved far more than those who blunder onward, lost in the fog of aimlessness. True victory isn't about conquering the game, it's about preserving your very soul. And do you know the most pervasive error committed by those who lose this game without even realizing they're playing? They mistakenly believe that protecting what's essential necessitates isolation, that nurturing their inner kingdom requires erecting impenetrable walls. That self-knowledge is an act of defensive fortification, when, in truth, it's an act of empowerment. I'll impart a truth that few truly comprehend. Self-knowledge doesn't render you fragile. It makes you dangerous. Because when you know what you're absolutely unwilling to lose, when you possess unwavering clarity regarding who you are and what you will never allow, you become an unpredictable force in a world that thrives on manipulating those who lack roots. Observe the world around you with discerning eyes. Most individuals operate from a place of crippling fear, a pervasive sense of lack, that gnawing feeling that something essential is missing. And what does this lead to? It renders them pathetically easy to control. Touch their fragile egos and they crumble. Deny them validation and they grovel. Offer them approval and they readily sell their souls. But there exists a rare breed of individual who refuses to play by those manipulative rules. The one who has fearlessly embarked on the inner journey, who has confronted their shadow self and forged a fragile peace within. You cannot dominate such an individual. You cannot sway them with empty applause, nor intimidate them with the threat of rejection, because they have already experienced it all within the depths of their own being. Because they no longer crave belonging, they belong to themselves. As Carl Jung said, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. And this leads me to a new topic. The stark dichotomy between those who seek external power and those who seek unwavering clarity. The former are slaves to their insatiable hunger. The latter are liberated by their profound purpose. Do you recognize that the world is consumed by a relentless pursuit of power? Economic power, the power of influence, power over others? But true power isn't external or accumulative, it's profoundly internal. And here's the most disconcerting truth. It's often invisible. True power doesn't clamor for attention. It's the quiet confidence to confront your life head-on and declare, "This is who I am. This is my inherent worth. This is what I will never compromise." It's the power of not needing to loudly proclaim your strength, because your unwavering consistency speaks volumes without uttering a single word. Now, what nourishes that inner power? Clarity. A clarity that cannot be bought, bartered, or inherited. It must be painstakingly built, relentlessly cultivated, and often painfully earned through trials and tribulations. Because possessing clarity isn't merely about knowing what you desire when the winds of fortune are at your back. It's about fiercely clinging to that vision when everything around you crumbles to dust. It's about facing the storm head-on and declaring, This trial does not define me. It will not alter my course. It's about witnessing everyone around you scatter in panic and choosing with unwavering resolve to remain rooted in your place. Not because you lack the speed to flee, but because you possess a crystalline understanding of where you stand and where you are relentlessly heading. And that, my friend, terrifies those who remain lost in the labyrinth of their own confusion. Clarity is a formidable weapon, one that breeds discomfort, because in a world drowning in doubt and uncertainty, the individual who walks with unshakable conviction shines like a beacon, and that radiance can be perceived as a threat. It serves as a jarring reminder to others that, yes, it is indeed possible to possess unwavering direction, to embrace a profound purpose, to live a life infused with meaning, if you are willing to cease living for the validation of others. But this vital truth is rarely shared, because if you possessed such clarity, you would cease to be easily manipulated. You would resist buying what you don't need, working at what you despise, and tolerating what silently poisons your soul. That is why society rewards the obedient and punishes the lucid. Because the obedient are mere pawns, while the lucid are self-governing kings. And this brings us back to the chessboard. The king who lacks clarity is merely a pawn in disguise. He mistakenly believes he commands the game, yet he moves solely by reflexive impulse. He succumbs to panic when he loses a rook. He crumbles when a queen falls, because his internal center isn't anchored within himself, but tethered to the shifting sands of his external environment. But the king who possesses unwavering clarity can stand alone on the board, surrounded by deafening silence and menacing enemies, and still play with intention and strategic brilliance. And heed this warning: clarity isn't synonymous with arrogance. It's not about deluding yourself into believing you possess all the answers. It's about cultivating the humility to acknowledge what you don't know, and the unwavering intelligence to refrain from acting from a place of ignorance. It's about discerning when to speak and when to remain silent, when to advance and when to patiently await the opportune moment, when to commit fully and when to strategically retreat, to safeguard what you cannot afford to relinquish. Self-knowledge extends far beyond mere self-awareness. It encompasses a profound understanding of your limitations, your blind spots, your consuming obsessions, and your deeply etched wounds. Because if you remain blind to them, others will ruthlessly exploit them against you. If you remain ignorant of where you are most vulnerable, anyone can inflict crippling pain with ease. But if you confront those hidden aspects of yourself, if you acknowledge them with unflinching honesty, if you dedicate yourself to healing them, then they no longer wield power over you. Then you cease to merely react to the world. You actively choose your response. And that's the next level of the game, reserved for those who dare to choose. Because there exist two distinct types of individuals in this world: those who merely react and those who consciously decide. Those who live at the whim of the shifting winds of the board, and those who meticulously choose their next move. And only the latter can truly lead, not others, but themselves. Here's a searing truth: if you fail to consciously direct your life, others will gladly do it for you. And not necessarily with malicious intent, but simply because a vacuum abhors being empty, and the world relentlessly seeks to fill it. If you don't infuse your life with purpose, the world will gladly inundate it with noise, with rampant consumption, with invidious comparisons, with suffocating expectations. And you, without even realizing it, will be living a borrowed life. A life that may sound impressive to the casual observer, but lacks the authenticity of being truly yours. And what's the ultimate point of winning a game with rules you didn't even write? That's not true victory, it's merely decorated slavery. It's success tinged with the bitterness of defeat. And the most agonizing aspect? You may not even recognize the insidious trap until it's far too late. Until you awaken one day, gaze into your reflection, and find yourself staring back at a stranger, devoid of a clear understanding of who you are or why you are doing what you do. And that precise moment, that single instant, is the true checkmate. Because there exists no move that can salvage you if you have severed all ties with what's truly essential. And that's where the concept of balance enters the equation, another tragically forgotten pillar of authentic internal leadership. Because it's insufficient to merely know yourself. You must diligently care for yourself. And I'm not alluding to fleeting spa retreats or occasional days off. I'm referring to diligently safeguarding your inner center, nurturing your mind, cultivating your values, silencing the insidious voices that drag you down, and carefully filtering what you allow to penetrate your consciousness. Because the mind, my friend, is fertile ground, and whatever seeds you plant there will inevitably take root and blossom. What seeds are you currently planting? The seeds of clarity or the seeds of destructive noise? Because if you spend your days mindlessly consuming distractions, listening to what fuels your fears, constantly comparing yourself to the fabricated lives of others, what positive outcome can you realistically expect to cultivate within yourself? Certainly not inner peace, and even less so, a profound sense of purpose. And that's when the insidious rot begins, first in the unseen realms of your inner landscape, then progressively manifesting in the tangible world, until one day the board may appear outwardly impressive, but you know with a chilling certainty that you have already forfeited the game within. And that's the most agonizing reality, because the external trappings of success can be rebuilt, but when the king collapses within, everything else is merely ornamentation. That's why I implore you, fiercely protect your inner center, your mind, your emotional balance, your driving purpose. Not because you are inherently weak, but because you are inherently essential. And if you lose yourself in the chaos, everything else you strive for ultimately loses its meaning. And if you still harbor lingering doubts, confront yourself with this final, searing question. How many of your decisions throughout your life have sprung from a place of crippling fear, and how many have been guided by the unwavering light of clarity? Your answer will reveal whether you are genuinely playing the game or merely going through the motions. And if you've persevered this far, if you've listened with unwavering attention without averting your gaze, it signifies something profound. It signifies that in some hidden corner of your mind, a dormant voice is whispering, "This resonates with me. This is meant for me." It's not a mere coincidence. It's your own consciousness desperately urging you to awaken, because you stand at a precise juncture, at a pivotal moment in time, where you must decide whether you will continue to live a borrowed life or finally seize control of your own board. But wait, don't depart just yet, because the most transformative insights are yet to come. Have you ever experienced the frustrating sensation of moving forward without a clear sense of direction? As if each fleeting achievement feels progressively less fulfilling, as if each hard-won victory is merely a temporary patch that fails to conceal the pervasive emptiness? It's not that you are fundamentally flawed, it's that you are profoundly disconnected from your true self. Because when you are no longer connected to what you are resolutely committed to defend, everything you pursue begins to feel increasingly irrelevant, and that slow erosion gradually kills your spirit. The soul doesn't perish in a single dramatic blow. It succumbs to the insidious poison of living each day devoid of purpose, of ignoring what's essential in favor of chasing after what's merely urgent. And do you know what the most tragic irony is? That you likely already possess everything you need within you to change your trajectory. You inherently know it. You've already felt it in the depths of your being, but you are paralyzed by the fear of bringing it to fruition. You are terrified that once you act on that inner knowing, there will be no turning back. And that much is undeniably true. There is no turning back. Because once you begin to live with unwavering clarity, you can no longer settle for anything less. And that realization may initially terrify you, but it is also the gateway to true freedom. A damn beautiful freedom, the kind that only those who dare to gaze unflinchingly into their souls and declare, "This is who I am, and I will never betray it," can truly claim. So here is the final question, the one you can no longer afford to ignore. Are you destined to continue moving through life without conscious thought, or are you ready to begin playing for real? Look, this isn't an attempt to superficially motivate you with empty platitudes. It's not about bombarding you with grandiose music and falsely promising that you can achieve anything you desire. It's about facing yourself with brutal honesty and cultivating the unwavering courage to persevere. It's about meticulously constructing your life from within, brick by unwavering brick, principle by unshakable principle. It's about learning to resolutely say no to what may sound appealing on the surface, but subtly steals you away from your authentic truth. It's about walking with unwavering intention, even as the world around you runs headlong into the fog of aimlessness. And if you truly grasp the essence of this message, if you deeply internalize it, the board will cease to intimidate you. Because you will no longer play to appease the expectations of others. You will no longer move pieces out of crippling fear. You will no longer sacrifice your king for the fleeting validation of a pawn. You will play to fiercely protect what truly matters. You will play with unshakable consciousness, and that inner fortitude will render you invincible, untouchable, unstoppable. So, do not tell me you are incapable. Do not tell me it's tragically too late. What you desperately need is not more time. It's a decisive choice. Commit to one act today. Protect your inner center. Even if it's a seemingly insignificant decision, even if no one notices, even if it feels trivial on the surface, remember that, in reality, you are undertaking the most vital task of all, safeguarding your inner kingdom. And before you depart, I wish to propose a simple gesture. Go to the comments section and inscribe this phrase: "My king does not surrender." Let it serve as your declaration to the universe. I have comprehended the profound message, and I am ready to play for real. Subscribe if any aspect of this resonated with you like a silent shot fired across your bow. If any phrase compelled you to momentarily close your eyes and think, "This is precisely what I needed to hear." Because here, we aren't simply attempting to entertain you, we are committed to igniting the spark of your long-dormant consciousness. And believe me, this is not where the journey ends. It's merely the beginning. From this moment forward, every move you make will be infused with newfound purpose, because you will no longer move merely to occupy space. You will move with intentionality, and that will forever set you apart from the fleeting crowd. So, embrace the call. Subscribe to the channel. Leave that powerful phrase in the comments below, and brace yourself, because what lies ahead is not merely a game. It's life played by an individual who has finally remembered the identity of their true king. Until our paths cross again in the next video, or perhaps in the pregnant silence between one strategic move and the next, the world is waiting for you to awaken.